Hey guys, what's going on? This is Adam Evermiller with AETuts.com, and today we're going to be creating kind of a cool little boxy logo sort of deal that you can see above. And the point isn't necessarily how to show you how to create this exact scene, but more just to kind of introduce you to this script over on AE Scripts called 3D Shapes, Create 3D Shapes. Really, really cool script. I have the link here in the post that you can just click on directly. But they have 3D sphere, cylinder, pyramid, all sorts of different shapes that you can create. We're just going to be touching on the most basic Create 3D box today. You can watch the demo video here or here. So go ahead and install that. If you're not sure how to install it, here's another video as well, just showing you where to put the script. Basically how to install it. So let's jump right into After Effects. We're going to create a new composition. Do whatever size you want, doesn't really matter, but 1920 by 1080. And first thing I'm going to do is just drag in the AETuts logo. Personal favorite of mine. And by default, in After Effects, obviously everything is 2D. So when we create a new camera and we turn on the 3D layer, yep, nothing is 2D, 3D. We turn it on, switch over to the camera tool and rotate, it's flat. Flat as a, I could get in trouble with that, but very flat. And so we want to make this 3D, and actually over on Chrome is where I have this post up. Over on AETuts, well, here on AETuts, I should say. Rich Young, a couple days back, posted a cool tutorial, 3D text in After Effects, and it's got all sorts of cool and just a buttload of links on, whether it be trying to duplicate the one layer with the expression, value plus index plus one or whatever that thing is, or using the shatter. There's all sorts of different ways to get 3D. And so obviously this whole idea of trying to push the bounds and cheat a little bit by actually getting 3D within, flat old After Effects, it's not a unique idea, but this script here from AE Scripts is a pretty good step in that direction. So we have let's go ahead and we'll get rid of our camera real quick. We have our layer here. Let's go ahead and go up to File, Scripts, Run Script File, and then we're going to want to run Create 3D Box. It'll pop up as this little window. By default here, it's a uniform size, so it's actually going to create a 3D box, a uniform box, all the sides being the same. If I have my layers, my composition selected, I can click Refresh, and then any layers that I have here are then going to pop down with the drop-down menu. I only have one right now, so that's my only option. But if you have 20, well, you'll see here in a second. And we want to make sure that we are going to add a controller. And so let's just, to experiment, let's hit Create. Okay, sweet. So now we have, going back to our arrow, if we bring up the rotation, we now have a 3D box. Let me change it to full, so you can see what we're doing. We now actually have a real 3D box, and it's all these layers here are connected or parented to this controller, which is pretty handy. They're all individual, layers that are wrapped around this null. But this is not the logo that we were wanting. This isn't the original. It's very squished. So what we want to do is, let's just back everything straight up to the original here. And what we want to do is we want to take these original dimensions. So looking back up with this selected, our actual width isn't 100. First off, it's not a square, so uncheck uniform size. Our actual width is up here. It's 1085. So we'll come here under width and we'll back up. Sometimes with this first box, it's been a little finicky where you like type 8 and then it brings the cursor back to the beginning. Just be patient with it. So 1085 is our width, and our height is 339. So 339, okay. And then depth, how far back we want our box to go, 100, that's fine. And we're all good. Okay, yep. Got to make sure it's selected. But tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our CG Tuts logo as well, and conveniently same dimensions. And I'm going to drop this in the mix as well. So now, with this composition selected, I can hit refresh. Now I actually have two layers to choose from. So my front is going to stay AETuts logo. Left, right, top, and bottom, I don't really care about. But then my back, I want to make that be the CG Tuts logo. Okay? And then I will hit Add Controller is good, hit Create. All right, cool. And now at this point, I can get rid of that. Sweet. Now I bring on my rotation, and I have a full 3D box. Plus my backside is the CG Tuts logo. Pretty sweet. And it's Yeah, it's got all sides. So really, really cool. Another cool thing about this is if I hit scale on the null, since all these are parented here, I can uncheck the uniform, um, uniform scale, and then I can actually scale individual elements. So let's say that you weren't able to get your dimensions just right, you can still scale that. Like, oh, let's stretch. Okay, that's better. Now that's perfect, or whatever the case may be. Likewise, if I do have it rotated sideways, I can also scale the z depth as well, so I can kind of have it bouncing a little bit. So all kind of cool options to play with. Well, let's go back to rotation, reset that, and then I'm just going to create a quick floor layer. So new solid, and that's good. Let's make it 3D, and then we're gonna hit W to bring up that, click it, and then hold down Shift and click. It'll just snap right into place. Let's zoom up and drag it just below, looking right at this black line here, just so that it rests right below. We're just going to create a little floor here for it. All right, and right there is about good. One last, bam, cool. Now we can scale this way up and scale it way out, and we have ourselves a nice little floor. All right. The other thing is since this isn't, there's other plugins out there that will maybe allow you to simulate 3D, particulars like that. Freeform by DigiFX, they're like that. So you can do it, but when you go to add shadows and stuff, sometimes you run into difficulty having light interact with other layers. In addition, just the fact that, when you simulate 3D in one layer, then sometimes when you have multiple layers of 3D, they don't always interact. But with this, each of these are really in these positions. So that's kind of nice that when we go now to add a light, it's going to be a very realistic, like it is actually is a box in 3D space. So let's go ahead and go new, and let's just create a light. And let's make this point light's good. Intensity I knocked down to 50, just so it's not super intense because we're going to have a few of them. And then the shadow diffusion, I want it to be a real soft shadow. And then, yeah, let's give it a little bit of a yellowish tinge. Not crazy. If you get too much, it's going to be, but just barely inching over towards yellow. And what that's going to do is just kind of warm up the shot a little bit, add some kind of, warm realism to it. All right, and let's go ahead and switch to Custom View 3 just to see kind of our position here. Let's bring that over and bring it up a little bit. Okay. Now, grabbing one of these, we can hit A twice to see, all right, cast shadows, we want that to be on because we want there to be a nice shadow here on the ground. So let's select all these layers, hit A twice, and then cast shadows on. And that will then cast a nice shadow in the background. Let's see, accept shadows, we can turn that to off, and then accepts lights on. That's fine. Okay, and then let's also go into our floor layer, hit AA, see, accept shadows on, cast shadows, that can be off, that's fine. And cool. All right, so now we can see that there is a nice soft shadow being created. Well, let's switch back to our main view, active camera, and we can create a second light. Since it's dim, it frees us up to create a couple of them. So let's do one there. Let's duplicate it again. Hit it, bring it back in Z space, so now it's behind a little bit because we want it to start kind of creating some shadows in the front here. And we can even go back a little bit further and go up a little bit more. Okay, duplicate one more time. Let's just create a nice 4-light setup here. Okay. So that we just get some nice shading on the ground. It'll just kind of add, usually I don't like playing with lights in 3D or in After Effects just because, I don't know, with flat layers, it's kind of two-dimensional at times. However, just playing with this, there are some options, and it really does add realism. If you don't want to mess with layers, you can always just have a black solid really lightly feathered here to kind of just add that ambient occlusion looking feel. So we have some basic lights, and that's good. Next thing I want to do is I want to create that's scaled up. Let's go ahead and double click on this guy. I want to make this, let's go to mask. I just want to have a fade out in the distance. So I'm going to bring up my mask options. I'm going to bring the expansion in just a hair, and then I'm going to bring the feather out just so it kind of looks like it fades out. I don't want for there to be any hard edges in the distance. I kind of just want it to fade off into the distance. It's a little bit nicer. And I can even scale this up further, you know, just so between that feather and then the actual light, you know, dissipating over space, that'll look a little bit nicer. And we can also, you know, we can also maybe add some texture to the bottom, but it's not really a huge deal either way. And we'll go up to layer, new, camera. And with this, what I want to do is I want to make kind of a wide angle camera, one that is going to, so let's just create it by default first. And I want it, since we're going to be kind of moving around this, I want it to have kind of a wide angle feel. So once we already create the camera, then we go into camera settings, and then it lets us kind of adjust and see what we're doing here. So I want to go wide angle so it feels, you know, so make the angle of view a little bit more, and it doesn't have to be crazy, maybe 85 or something, not anything too wild, but that is going to zoom your camera up. So then at that point, what we need to do is take the position of the camera and just back it up a little bit. Oops. So we'll take the Z depth and back it up a little bit. Check it. I'm sorry. We'll hit C a couple times and just go that route. Okay, cool. Sweet. So we are backed off just a little bit, but what this is going to do is let's create a new null, make it 3D. We'll put it right in the middle here. Call it camera controller. Controller, and then we'll parent it. This is a simple technique, but you know, nothing's new. Sorry, wrong way. Camera to the controller. Oh, I renamed it wrong. Sorry guys, I'm making some mistakes here. And then the null we're going to call camera controller. All right. So now that the camera is attached to that, now we can rotate it around, and it just has a little bit of a wider feel. If it's as it's here, it you know, the edge that's near is really has kind of this ginormous sort of feel, like it's kind of epic just by adding that wider angle lens. And we can even mess with that a little bit more if we want to. We can you know, increase the angle of view just a little bit more. It's going to make it seem bigger, but then we'll then counterbalance that by hitting C a couple times and bringing it in closer. Now that's going to be a little bit too extreme, so we'll go back to where we were. But you see the principle there. So yeah, now as we rotate around, we have this you know, kind of full 3D scene, which is pretty sweet. And then you let go, and you can see the light interaction, which is nice. What I want to do is then kind of take these side guys here, and right now the light. Let's go ahead and turn these lights off for just a moment, so we can get an accurate picture of this scene. Let's rotate this guy. Wrong way. Oh, it's the whole rotation issue. There was another good post on that just recently on AE Tuts about that rotation dilemma. Forget the camera for a second. Let's go to the actual object itself. This is the controller of the logo, and we'll bring up this rotation. Here we have complete control. All right, sweet. So what we want to do here, and I'll turn off the floor so we can do it, is with these sides, we don't need them to say AE Tuts all squish, so we can just go look left side. We're on the right side now, so we'll grab the right side. Let's just go ahead and apply a quick ramp to it, and we'll drag it and apply it right there. Let's go ahead and zoom it in. Let's make this color that purple, and then we will bring it to this side, and then we'll bring this one to this side, and then by rotating it around, we'll snag this exact color. Back over to the right side, we'll snag this color, and this will just be a nice little you know, nice little segue. So we'll just go ahead and do this for each one. So we'll grab this same ramp, copy, rotate to the top. Okay, and now we're looking at the top, and I'll go ahead and paste it. It's not going to be accurate, but that's all right. which side am I on? Okay, purple. So the top is going to be there. So top ramp. I'll bring that over to this side, and then I will grab that and bring it over to that side. All right, and then we'll go back over and do the other side. I'm rotating all over the place. Rotate this guy back to here. I'll paste the same thing again to the left. This time I'm going to have to invert it. That one on that side, that one on this side. And then even though we're not really going to see the bottom, let's go ahead and just do it anyway, just for fun. We'll paste it on there as well. Bottom paste, purple in the front, and maroonish in the back. Okay, cool. So now we can reset this back to normal, and everyone will be happy. All right, cool. So now we have ourselves some nice looking transitions between the front and the back. So the next step would be, I guess in my mind, the next step would be to take this anchor point here. Right now the controller's turned off, so let's go ahead and have it so we can see it. Let's turn our floor back on so we know what we're doing. And what I would say is, let's take the anchor point of this null object and let's go ahead and bring it, hit anchor point, and let's bring it right to the very, very bottom. All the way there. So let's bring it up to right there. That's about good. And then we'll go ahead and just take the position and bring it back down again, so that it's just right on the edge. Perfect. Okay. What this is going to allow us to do is, now as we take the controller, all right, all these guys from controller all the way down to here, let's label all these like dark green. Okay, so we're solid with that. Then let's duplicate it. Okay, drag it above. Oh, let's drag it above, and not above my floor, but right there. And then let's give these a different color, like, I don't know, blue. That'll work. Okay. Now with this second controller, I'm going to take this and parent it to my first controller. And then I'm going to hit R, Z rotation. I'm going to do a full 180 here. 180. Then as I lower the opacity of that, I'm going to have a full 3D thing. Obviously, I'm going to need to take my scale, check it, oops, wrong way, and flip it to -100. Okay, and then we'll recheck the uniform. Okay, so now I have a full 3D, full 3D reflection. And what's cool is at this point, right now, honestly, I can take these guys all the way down to here. I can turn on the little shy button here. And I can also take all these guys, turn on the little shy button. So all we have left right now, and then click up here universally. All we have right now is the controller. We can even call that like logo controller. And we do not have to worry about that for anything else. So all the properties, the rotation, the anything, it doesn't really matter. It's going to now have a perfect 3D reflection. So that is that. Let's see here. Anything else that we want to do? As far as animating it, all that I really did was I took the position of the camera and I did the Y rotation. I keyframed it, brought it forward a little bit, gave it a little bit of rotation love. It's actually rotated on that a little bit on the X. Bring this down. You know, just kind of moved it around in space over time a little bit, just to create some ambient, movement. And so once I had, this sort of just generic movement down, the next thing that I did was I would then move the controller. So I could bring up this rotation. Okay, bring it to there. Take the Y, keyframe it, move forward 1, 2, 3, a couple frames. Maybe move it 5 in one direction, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I would hardcore shift it in the other direction until it reversed. And do the whole zigzag thing back and forth a couple times. And you'll be good. You'll get a nice little rotation around there. So that's that. Lastly, let's turn our lights on, and it should create a nice feel. Now, technically, you might want to like apply something to have it fade out in the distance. That's kind of the popular look, is to kind of make your image fade out. But especially if you were to go into this guy and maybe like replace it with let's come here and we'll replace it with a metal texture. Then it just, it'll look like a floor. It'll look shiny, especially when you have some texture there and you also have these lights shining. Doesn't seem like the light shining is that big of a deal, but just a little bit of contrast with the light, it really is going to add a difference, and really just help sell that this is a real shot. So yeah, this isn't the ultimate effect that's gonna, change your life forever, but it is a really, really cool little tool here, this Create 3D Shape. So if you do find yourself needing to animate a logo at some point in the future and you're just not sure what to do, throw it in 3D space, turn it into a box if it's square, and have fun with it. My name is Adam Evermiller with AE Tuts Plus, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.